Hello, folks. Welcome back to the program. There's a development that took place based on a memo internal to the U.S. government, but reported by Reuters and picked up by CNN and others, that the Trump administration has ordered a review of Biden-era refugees. Now, this is important for South Africans in particular, who are concerned about the refugee program for South Africans. And this affects those folks who were brought into the country, 233,000 that it could apply to. I don't think they're going to do 233,000 case reviews, but is an unprecedented move that would reopen cases of thousands who sought U.S. protection through the refugee program. Now, why is the Trump administration doing this, and how does it affect South Africans? First off, let me just reiterate what I've told people since February 7th when this was first announced by the president, and I've said thousands of times since then. You will not have your refugee status removed by an administration. They cannot do that legally unless the underlying reasons for your admission are repaired and solved. So if South Africa's government removes 145 race-based laws, then you might be told to go home. Do you think the ANC is going to remove 145 race-based laws anytime soon? I wouldn't worry about it. So if the underlying conditions like a conflict or, suddenly everyone loves gays in Syria and gays are celebrated there, then you have no reason to come here and you expect to go home. If the race laws go away and the persecution goes away, then you're expected to go home. That's the first reason you would be sent home. That never happens. It never happens. And the second reason, if you've committed fraud, if you've been dishonest or not forthcoming in your refugee interviews and your application process, your refugee status can be rescinded. A lot of people have been asking me, I've received a provisional letter. What does this mean? Well, it means it's provisional. It means your status can be revoked at any time. Investigations continue. Even after you come here, you must obey our norms, our laws, our mores, our values, and uphold them, and not commit crimes, or you could lose your status. You're here under the generosity of the American people. So the USCIS, the Customs and Immigration Service memo, was dated the 21st of November. It said that the agency will terminate the refugee status of people already in the U.S. if they are found to not meet refugee criteria. In other words, if they came here fraudulently, whether they committed the fraud or, more likely, the Biden regime committed the fraud. So the Biden regime potentially prioritized expediency, quantity, and admissions over quality interviews and detailed screening and vetting. And I'm willing to bet if they start looking at few choice cases, they're going to find widespread fraud from the Biden regime. We already know they illegally violated the Constitution and spied on Jim Jordan, on Carter Page, on so many other people. They broke the law, including members of Congress beyond Jim Jordan. They are reprobates that need to be brought to heel. And they committed all kinds of crime, letting as many as 15,000. Michael Flynn was the other one I was thinking. Michael Flynn. 15 million illegal aliens pour across our border to undermine the social integrity of this country for whatever their purpose is. In late October, Trump, of course, set the refugee cap for 2026 at a record low 7,500, and most of those would go to South Africans. Now, Democrats and refugee advocates have criticized the sharp downsize of the program, and the administration has been removing also temporary protected status, TPS. They've removed it from Sudanese. They've removed it from Haitians. They're removing it now from Somalis. That's another step, but that's not refugees. Those are people who have temporary protected status. Wow. So this is going to get a lot of people tongues wagging, a lot of people concerned. But what I would tell folks from South Africa is not to get overly concerned, because what we're talking about here, folks, is a review of the cases that came before. So you're going to say, the obvious question is, well, if Trump's going to review these cases, what if a Democrat comes in the next election, they'll review our cases? Well, as long as you told the truth and you didn't commit fraud and your case is strong, there's nothing they can do. Unless, of course, you committed fraud or the underlying conditions that brought you here have changed. If that isn't the case, you're not going anywhere. And oh, by the way, refugees never go anywhere, folks. And these 233,000 cases, they aren't going anywhere either. You want to bet dollars to donuts that the American Criminal Liberties Union, also known as the American Civil Liberties Union, but they only defend criminals, violent criminals. They don't defend Americans' rights. The American Criminal Liberties Union and the Southern Poverty Law Center, two very much race-based organizations that hate America. Those two organizations will no doubt file lawsuits, and there'll be plenty of immigrant groups, even though the immigrants are not the case, the refugees. There'll be a lot of groups that file lawsuits and gum this up in the works. So the odds of someone being deported are non-existent. And so we've also seen rogue courts make decisions that make no sense. So these people really don't have a lot to worry about other than the fact that it's a little bit uncertainty because their case could be reviewed. Well, if they committed fraud, they should be concerned. But the odds of getting through 233,000 cases and finding those who committed fraud, unless it's pervasive fraud, which it might be. It's going to be hard to do. Trump administration's got its hands full doing other things, just now setting records for deportations and arrest, which is about time. We've been waiting 10 months for this. People always want to put on Twitter, is this what you voted for? You damn Skippy, this is what I voted for. Criminal alien invaders who violate our sovereignty, have no respect for this country, don't belong here. I don't care if they're white, black, brown, blue, green, yellow, purple, Christian, Muslim, Jew, Buddhist. I don't really care. They're criminals. They have no business in this country. It's insane what they've allowed to happen in this country. Get these people out. And they'll play the racist card. But I'm talking about Ukrainians and Germans too. Kick them out too if they're here illegally. They don't belong here. Criminal alien invaders have no business here. There's a queue. Get in line and immigrate legally and properly. There is an absorptive capacity issue here. Instead of coming in our country and depressing wages and driving poor black Americans into deeper poverty and Hispanics in deeper poverty and bringing pestilence from other countries, how about you get properly vetted, enter this country legally, and stay here and adhere to our norms, learn English, and adopt our mores and values, and then you're welcome here. Simple as that. All right, folks, there you have it. So for South Africans, not something to worry about today, tomorrow, or even a year or two down the road, unless you've committed fraud and tried to defraud my country. Then you're going to be sent home when it's discovered. Two people who did defraud people, claiming they could put them on a list and give them money and they'll get you over here. They were caught trying to slip through the refugee program and were not allowed to even put an application in. So there you have it. Cheers.